All right, let's just jump right in. There's this silent crisis that's unfolding inside engineering teams pretty much everywhere. And it's not what you think. It's not about a lack of talent. It's not about a lack of budget. It's a crisis of friction. We're going to be talking about developer experience, or DX, and I'm going to show you why it's not some fluffy perk, but a core, hard-nosed business strategy. It's this weird paradox that so many leaders are scratching their heads about. You're spending more money than ever on the best people, the most cutting-edge tech, but things just feel slow. Delivery dates are slipping, your teams seem like they're running in mud. So we're going to unpack exactly why that's happening.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to define this whole crisis and actually put a price tag on the pain. Then, we'll dive into the 3 main pillars of a truly world-class developer experience. And finally, we'll wrap up by showing you how you can turn all of this into your secret weapon to actually win in the market.
Okay, so what is this crisis really? It's all about friction. The best way to think about it is like death by 1,000 paper cuts. A slow build here, a confusing process there, another pointless meeting. Each one seems like a small annoyance on its own, but when you add them all up, they create this massive invisible drag on your team's productivity. And that brings us to what we mean by developer experience, or DX. Look, this is not about ping pong tables or free snacks in the kitchen. It is the entire ecosystem that a developer lives and breathes in every single day. It's really the measure of how easily or how painfully they can turn a great idea into real value for your customers.
But this friction we're talking about, it isn't just about developers feeling frustrated. It has a real, tangible, bottom line cost. So let's actually put some numbers on the damage.
Get this, over $77,000. That is the estimated minimum cost to replace just one software engineer who gets burned out and leaves. And honestly, that number is just the tip of the iceberg.
So how in the world does that number get so high? Well, just look at the breakdown. It's not just the recruiter fees, though those are expensive. The real killer, the one that really hurts, is the productivity loss. We're talking months and months before a new hire is truly up to speed and effective. Now imagine that for a mid-sized team, you're suddenly looking at a potential million-dollar problem year after year. And what about the developers who actually stay? Well, they're paying something called the toil tax. It's brutal. They lose up to 8 hours every single week just wrestling with things like technical debt, bad processes, and clunky tools. That is one full day of work every week for every developer that just evaporates into thin air. Okay, so here's the crucial point. Fixing this isn't just about saving money, it's about making money. Research from McKinsey is crystal clear on this. Companies that are in the top tier for developer experience see up to 5 times the revenue growth of their competitors. Let me say that again, 5 times. Better DX leads directly to a better bottom line, period.
Okay, so we get it. The problem is real and it's expensive. How do we start to fix it? Well, the first pillar is all about frictionless tooling. Think of a developer's environment like this. Their code editor, their IDE, is the cockpit of a fighter jet, and their deployment pipeline is the heartbeat of the entire factory. If either one of those is clunky or slow, the whole operation grinds to a halt. You see, modern tools are specifically designed to protect a developer's focus. So, for example, a powerful IDE can handle enormous projects without crashing. Its search is so fast it feels instant. You've got things like AI code completion and instant feedback loops. All of this means developers spend way less time waiting and more time in that magical state of flow where the real innovation actually happens.
And this idea extends all the way out to your deployment pipeline. The choice here is usually between a fully integrated managed system versus a sort of DIY cobbled-together approach. Now, tools like Jenkins might seem free up front, but you pay this massive hidden tax in maintenance and mental overhead. An integrated platform just removes all that burden, letting your developers focus on shipping code, not on being full-time infrastructure janitors.
That brings us to our second pillar, autonomy. Look, great tools are the foundation, but to really, truly accelerate, you have to empower your teams. This is all about moving away from a culture of gatekeepers and handoffs and towards a world of ownership and self-service. This quote right here from Amazon's CTO is basically the mantra of modern software. You build it, you run it. When the same team that writes the code is also responsible for it in production, something amazing happens. They write better, more reliable code. Why? Because they know they're the ones who are going to get that page at 3 a.m. if it breaks. It creates this powerful natural feedback loop that drives quality way up. But here's the thing.
Autonomy without any guardrails is just chaos. And that's where platform engineering comes in. The whole goal here is to create what's called an internal developer platform that provides a golden path, basically a paved road of standardized, pre-configured, easy-to-use tools. It makes doing things the right way also the easiest way. All right, our third and final pillar really gets to the heart of the human element in all of this, reducing cognitive load. See, a developer's brain only has so much bandwidth, so much processing power. A great DX strategy is absolutely obsessed with making sure that precious brain power is spent on the right things. And to do that, you have to understand that there are two types of cognitive load. Intrinsic load is the good kind. That's the deep thinking required to solve a really complex business problem. But then there's extraneous load. That's the bad kind. It's all the wasted mental energy from fighting with your tools, hunting for documentation, or trying to figure out some convoluted deployment process. The whole goal of great DX is to mercilessly eliminate that extraneous load. And this is exactly why it matters so much. Every single time a developer gets interrupted by a slow build, a confusing error message, a random Slack notification, their state of flow is completely shattered. And the research on this is staggering. It can take more than 20 minutes to get that deep focus back. A high-friction environment isn't just inefficient. It's an engine of constant interruption. So let's bring this all home. When you put it all together, you realize that developer experience isn't just about making engineers happy. It is a powerful competitive weapon. And you know what? It's especially powerful for mid-sized companies. This right here is the key takeaway for any leader who isn't at a big tech giant. You're probably not going to be able to outpay Google. You can't compete on those salaries or stock options. But what you can do is outmaneuver them. You can absolutely compete by offering a superior environment where talented engineers can do the best work of their careers without all the bureaucracy and friction of a giant corporation. And look, this isn't just some abstract theory. You can literally start tomorrow. Here's a super simple 90-day plan. In your first month, just audit your current state. Talk to your developers, find out where the pain is, and measure some baseline metrics. In month 2, go for the quick wins. Standardize your tools and fix the single slowest part of your pipeline. Then, in month 3, you can make that bigger structural shift towards team ownership and maybe even spin up a dedicated platform team. So, as we wrap this up, I just want to leave you with one final question to think about. In today's market, your developer experience is one of two things. It's either a powerful engine pushing you and your business forward, or it's a heavy anchor holding you back. There is no middle ground. So, which one are you building?